Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeremy Duncan. I'd like to welcome you into a Friday night edition of TXK Conversations. We're going to be doing another episode of our famous friends, 95 and 30. Tonight, we have one of our favorite 95ers coming to the stage tonight. He's one of my good friends. We go back all the way back to Pine Street when he came in during our 7th or 8th grade year when he moved in. So he's been one of our favorite friend, one of our better athletes that's come through the TIGS side. And so I want to welcome to the stage Mr. Tim Horton.
Yo,
Tim, welcome to the stage, bro.
What's happening? What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's doing well, doing good, living good, eating good.
Hey, I'm trying to eat good, but I'm trying to keep these 82 pounds that I lost off of me. So
hey, man, you just gotta keep working, brother.
I'm trying to get where you are. So I'll be watching you.
Hey, so, man, I'm struggling right now, though.
I'll be my wife be up in that Planet Fitness trying to get everything. Everything right. So, but yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to come on and serve as one of our guests for this event. I know it's been 30 years since we walked across that stage in 1995. I was just mentioning it to Jamie yesterday about how hot it was. And then when we got done, she sent me some pictures of the old Truman Auditorium. Yeah. When we graduated. I was like, wow, that's that place. I hate that they tore it down.
Yeah.
But I wanted to give you guys a chance to come on and kind of talk about your experiences from the time we graduated until now. You know, we've all matriculated through life. We've had different careers and different paths. And we've impacted people and been impacted by people from that journey. So I wanted to kind of come on and give people a chance to reconnect with classmates they knew, people that they might have been in class with, but they really didn't talk to, so they can get a perspective of who they are. I know I'm gonna get one of our classmates on, Eric Pilcher. I'm gonna get him on and kind of talk to him because I don't really know him that well, but I always speak to him on Facebook. So I want to get a new understanding of him. So I want to give people opportunity to know who you are. So before we dive into these questions, I want to give you a chance to just tell us who you are, what you've been doing, and then we'll get in here and we'll chop it up.
Man, you know, again, I know hopefully everybody still remember me. I don't think other than all the gray on my face, you know, me, Tim Horton, you know. So, man, it's just life has been life and since we left school, you know what I mean? It's just, you know, trying to figure out life, you know, and navigate just everyday things on just how to be an actual responsible adult. You know, especially and me, you know, coming out of high school, you know, a couple years out of high school, I had my kid young, so I had to learn how to be dad early, you know, throughout my 20s. So I'm trying to figure out who I am through my 20s, also trying to raise somebody to be somebody, you know what I mean, during that time. You know, I've got into fitness early, you know, during that time, and it's been just my passion and my love for the most part. You know, I kind of got out of it for a little bit, but something always pulled me back. You know, I tried to leave it. I've tried to do other things. My original career path when I left high school was to be a physical therapist.
Okay.
And that was something that I worked in several rehab clinics over the past few years. I've worked with everything from people brain injury to people who've been burned, you know, so I've done, you know, multiple different settings and teaching them how to walk, talk, stand, move, eat, shower, put your clothes on, all that kind of stuff. So I learned over the years doing those jobs too, that I have a lot more respect for caregivers.
Right.
Well, that is a very tough job. Caring for someone, you know, feeding them, you know, whatever the case may be. But yeah, man, I mean, life has been, you know, good for the most part. You know, I hadn't had any major hiccups in my life, you know, been knocked down a few times, just like we all have. But always, you know, decided, you know, get up. I can't stay down here. You know, I don't get anything done. But outside of that, man, everything's been good. You know, married now with, you know, 2 additional kids outside of my oldest son.
And the young ones now.
Man, I don't know what I was thinking. You know, I ended up marrying somebody and having any kids. You know what I mean? So I go from the big age gap. When I tell people the age gap, they look at me like, man, what's wrong with you? I'm like, hey, brother. I mean, if I wanted, I had to do something, right? So, but yeah, man, it's, you know, I look around sometimes and I tell my wife, I was like, you know, I was sitting in here the other night, just staring at the TV, and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm just trying to figure out where the last, 15 plus years of my life is gone."
Right. It's passed by so fast.
So quick, and it's like you look up. I told her, I said, I look up, and here we are on house number 2, 2 kids and a dog. I'm
right.
like, what happened? So, but yeah, it creeps up on you quick, and but it's just the way of life, though. So
that's the American dream, though. The picture is you got your house, 2 kids, a wife, and a picket fence.
Pretty much.
When you think about that day, it was May 28th. I remember to this day, it was hot. I would tell April, I remember because we had to go to church that day for that art service.
Yeah.
And I said, remember, it was really hot. And we had been in church, but we came in that evening and we set up in there in that auditorium, old auditorium. And I remember like so many things about that day. But when you think about it, what was one of the most memorable or most vivid things you remember about graduation or leading up to graduation during that year?
It's just leading up to graduation, because I still didn't really know what I wanted to do coming out of high school. You know what I mean? I knew I wanted to further my education at some point, but I actually thought about going to the military also, which was probably really the actually main goal until my recruiter kind of gave me some bad information, and I just kind of like, no, I'm not going to do it. Right. But I would say it was a little bit excitement, but also just kind of not knowing the unknown, basically. Because I remember after graduation that day, that day was cool. That's why I always, love Sage, because we sat we sat side by side each other at graduation that day. And every time we was doing something, it was always me and Sage side by side. Sage is she's like the most awesome person ever. And you seen her son hoop? Oh my gosh, that dude can hoop. Her oldest son?
Yeah, she was still,
yeah. That boy can ball. That young man can ball. But yeah, man, just that day, I remember, like I said, it was very hot that day. It was hot. It was muggy. And, just trying to get pictures with everybody and, trying to spend as much time with everybody. Because, once that day was over, everybody dispersed. Everybody went their own separate ways. And you lose contact with folks after so many years. And it's like, I wonder what such and such is doing. I wonder what this person is doing. Right. So, but yeah, that day was just the unknown. I was excited. It was graduation. But then that night when I got home, I was sitting on the couch. My dad was like, "What's next?" I was like, "I don't know."
Reality time.
Yeah, it's when it really hit me, saying it. But yeah, it was an exciting day. It was also a scary day, but it was fun, and you like I said, everybody, go their separate ways afterwards. And I think me and Stacy hung out that night. Me and Banks, that was my boy.
I know.
For a little bit, and then after that, man, it was just like, I got to figure out my next move. So
yeah, because I remember a couple of weeks earlier, the prom. I remember we got done with prom. Did you go? Well, did we go to Dallas? Were you with us? It was me, Stacy, Jason, and were you with us? We got in. We rode out and went to Dallas.
No. We were actually supposed to go, but remember it rained that Saturday after prom.
Right.
And because me and Eric, it was me, Eric, Krista, and it was a couple of them. We was gonna come, but it rained, so we decided not to go.
Right.
So we decided just, but yeah, we were gonna go that weekend, and we was like, nah, you know what? It's raining, and we just decided not to go. But yeah, that day, we didn't go that day, but yeah, it would have been a pretty good trip if we all would have went.
So thinking back to high school, was there a particular moment that kind of shaped how you see the world today or who you are today?
I would say one of my favorite people ever was Coach McManus, baseball coach.
Right.
And the way he would train us is the way I train my people now.
Right.
But it's also the same discipline I use through life.
Right.
Hard work, putting it in. If it don't work, try something different. Just don't sit there. Always have a plan or a backup.
Right.
That would probably be, it's just when we with him, and then we would work out and things like that. So I think that really is kind of what pushed me into the world I'm in, because I found myself when I train my athletes that, I train the same way he did.
Right.
So, and even, another one of my favorite people ever was the Willie boy.
Willie boy.
Willie boy. it is funny because his sayings are, I still use his sayings till this day, 30 years later.
Right.
I told one of my athletes the other day, I said, you know what? Those who cheat will repeat. If you get caught, it's your own fault. That's one of my, actually, you know what's great? Because actually I wrote that on my board in my workout room one day. I said, this is the motto in here. But
right.
yeah, and it's just like, and I've always used those things too, because I never want the shortcut and cheat it, because just like he said, those who cheat will repeat. And if you get caught, it's your own fault. You know what I mean? So
man, it's so funny that you talk about that.
Huh? Would you say?
It's so funny that you speak about that, because I think back to the day, because I think it was me, Craig, and Trey Rochelle. We was in the government class together.
Yeah.
He was passing around stuff, and he started walking, and I took it and I ate it. He said, "You ate it." Craig's like, "Man, you ate the paper." They had a little cheat sheet.
Hey man, I'm telling you, Willie didn't play, boy.
Yeah, man.
You know, because I had clear class with Tamika Watson, and me and Tamika still talk regularly. You know what I'm saying? That's my buddy. And you know, I remember one day we were in class, and you know, Mr. Boyd walked by, and she's like, was reading something, and she's like, the Willie, and he would always say, "I got your Willie." You know what I'm saying? So, but Mr. Boyd, yeah, he also, you know, something to really feel shaped me as well.
Right.
Because, you know, like I said, his sayings, and I would always tell him, those, like I said, those who cheat will repeat. Or, you know, like, hey, some of us got to have a prayer meeting because we ain't gonna make it. Some of y'all ain't gonna make it.
Exactly. That's one of the things that I look at when I think about our time and our experiences, even dating back all the way back from when we started at Pine Street and Westlawn, the friendships and the patterns we forged during that time. I think about those people. I think about, of course, Coach Early.
Yeah.
I think about
Red.
Yeah, Red, Coach Daniel. I was telling my wife about that time when rest, God bless his soul, Carlos. Yeah. We was out there in 9th grade and we was practicing and stuff. And he said, "Coach, I quit." And Coach Early was just so nonchalant. He was just doing the notepad, the clipboard, and he kept standing there. He looked up. He like, "What you waiting on? A paycheck?" And I think about those times, and I think about those characters, like Mr. Boyd and Mr. Littman, because those were the people that kind of shaped and kind of instilled in us. A little bit different. It was, you know, we had a diverse campus. So I never felt like that I was like in a situation where I was discriminating, because we always had white friends, we always had black friends, we always mingle. Some of my favorite moments are thinking about Taterhead and Skip.
Oh man, and you know, Joe and all of all those cats. And you know what too? I always felt that Mr. Boyd was always somebody I could talk to.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I was going through, even after I graduated high school, I would still see Mr. Boyd, and then we would have a conversation. He would always tell me the importance of furthering my education.
Right.
So we would always talk, you know. So that's one thing about that man. And anytime I needed to talk to Mr. Boyd, if I saw him, give me that time. You know what I mean? So that's why I love that dude to death, man. So
if you're thinking about it, like the impact, the influence, we had a lot of people that impacted our lives and influenced our path. So when you think about that, what's something that you've built, led, or nurtured that you're proud of? You know, I talked with Jamie the other night, and we talked about how students we've impacted or people that we've mentored and how they've come back after that mentorship and talk to us about how they impacted them. So what's some of the things that you've built, led, or nurtured throughout your life?
Man, it's really getting in and training these athletes. You know, I got into strength training, and, you know, talking to these young men and women about what to expect when they go off to college, what to look for, their work ethic, the things they do off the field will translate on the field, how to be a good student, how to be a good person in the community, how to, you know, how to present yourself and be professional, because you never know who's watching you.
Right.
You know, and I've always tried to instill that into a lot of these young people. And, you know, I had, give a quick example. I had a couple young ladies, they were twins, right? They played volleyball, and I was their strength coach. And I would always tell them, hey, the same coach that recruited you is not the same coach you're going to get when you go to school. I'm telling you right now. It's going to be a total different guy, right? So a lot of the times that, you know, and, you know, they didn't want to listen. Cool, no problem. Ran into those young ladies probably about 5 years ago, about 5, 6 years ago, just randomly, like Chick-fil-A, I think it was.
Right.
One of them was working at the Chick-fil-A as a manager. And she looked at me, she said, Coach, everything you told us was true. I'm like, I know. I mean, I'm telling you what to expect. They was like, and I would tell a lot of them, like, your work ethic. If a coach was to call me and say, hey, what about this athlete? I'm going to be honest with them. I'm going to say, hey, they have what it takes. They just don't want to do what it takes.
Right.
So that's a lot of these athletes that I nurtured and really guided. And it's something that came back and was like, hey, man, I made X squad. I did this. So, I jumped this amount, things like that. So that's what my biggest thing is nurturing, something that I actually still to this day is dealing with these athletes, especially these younger ones going out. The sense of entitlement now is absolutely insane.
It is
insane. And it's like trying to get a lot of these young kids to understand, what it takes to get to a higher level. You're in high school and everybody's telling you you're great, you're great, you're great. But then when you get to college and you got 25 other you're greats in there, and then, well, coach don't like me. Well, no, it's because you're not working.
How you gonna stand out?
Exactly. You got to do what it takes. Right. So, a lot of them now here recently, I feel like a lot of them are really starting to listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
And I always tell them too, to be careful of your surroundings, especially when you put on social media, especially the people you're around, because these college coaches now will go to your social media. They will look at every single person in a picture with you, and they will go to their page and they will look at every single person with them. And if they see something they don't like, guess what? You're not getting that scholarship. You're not coming to my school.
Right.
Because NIL, they're not spending money on you to screw it. Oh, no.
Yeah, your circle is more important right now.
Way more important.
So you got to decide who you want to be.
Absolutely.
Who you don't want to be, because a lot of times you're with a lot of knuckleheads. That's how you're going to be associated. So you got to decide who's going to be in that circle that's going to help you move throughout the things that you want to do. I think that's telling for, like, I see a lot of the younger people that come in and getting out of college. They come want to work for the government. We're interviewing and stuff. Is that's coming in there prepared, putting your best foot forward. Don't come in there, even if it's virtual. Absolutely. Put your best self out there. Don't come in there halfway. Don't come in there and think that everything's just going to be handed to you, because you're going to work. There's certain standards that are in play. And I think what you're teaching them through your mentorship and through your impact with the athletes that you're working with is going to be key, because there's always going to be someone bigger, faster, and stronger.
Always.
Like that work ethic. Work ethic is trumpet.
Yeah. And I would tell them that too. I'm like, look, just because a coach recruited you for this position, you think you're the only one he recruited? No. He finna bring in 5 or 6 more other people for that same spot, and he gonna find the dog, because his paycheck depends on y'all.
Right.
So he will cut you as fast as he got you.
Yeah, because it's about him maintaining not only just you, but also his lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
His family. So you got to make sure you're putting the right people in place. So when you think about all of that, you think about how you were mentored, how you're imparting that into your kids, and also the athletes that you're working with. What is something that you would tell your younger self? I talk about last night with Jamie. I talk about, what would you say? What type of letter would you write to the 17, 18-year-old Tim in 1995?
You know what? Somebody just asked me the same question a couple of days ago. And really, I would have really took my education more seriously then.
Right.
I wouldn't have, took a year off or whatever the case may be. But I really would have took my education way more serious, as far as getting my degree knocked out and not being a 50-year-old man finishing it now. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing, is always continue to educate yourself and always try to improve yourself. That's what I would tell myself. And that's what I've kind of done over the past few years. Is I think sometimes, we get complacent with careers and jobs, and we just kind of sit there. Yeah. And it's all these signs for you to move, because there's something bigger and better for you.
Right.
But in order to do that, you're going to have some type of certification. You're going to have some. So always continue to learn. That's what I would tell my younger self. Always continue to learn.
Yeah, and that's important, because especially with today's time, with
AI,
man, we got AI in the government, man. Right now, we're learning that so we can better serve our veterans. So those are things that you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to know how to interact. I find a lot of times, like a lot of the kids today, they're into the social media, but they don't know how to communicate in a personal one-on-one.
Yeah. I got a 12-year-old that's like that.
Right.
That I had him order his own food one day. He had a full-fledged panic attack.
Right.
And I'm like, son, you have got to learn how to speak to people and talk to people. Use your voice. You have a voice for a reason.
Right.
You know? And so it's like a lot of these kids now, they don't know how to talk to people.
Right.
You know,
and that's gonna be a key.
Yeah, they'd rather go in the corner and send me a text instead of just telling me face to face.
Yeah, man. I guess we do teams and stuff now. I'd be like, exactly. I'll go out the door. I walk down and say, okay, this is what I need, because it's coming back to that point. We were taught through grade school. We had to do typing class, so we had to learn how to word processing type. And we came in on the net, on the Netscape and the internet. Yeah, and we were in high school. That stuff was starting to roll, and now it's been morphed into something just like. And so that's normal to them. So the stuff that was normal to us, like the essays and the writing and going out and interacting with people, going out in certain settings and being able to function, a lot of that has been kind of removed from them. And so I'm hoping, like, as things shift to AI, that it pushes them back to having to know how to interact with those things.
Right.
Your wisdom.
Yeah.
Wonder. We talked about we're moving into the big fives in a year or so, and and we had different experiences. We've grown through different things, from our families to our relationships. What is the truth you've come to believe deeply over the last 30 years?
That is a good question.
I try to throw y'all some hard balls.
Yeah, that's good. What is my truth? One of the things I guess you would say is that's a really good question. You know, that is I never really thought about that. Really, for me, is something I learned over the years too. Is, I guess, one thing, my truth is really just how to control my own emotions.
Right. Me too. I had to learn how to do that.
I had to learn how to adapt to change.
Right.
That, I think, is really what it is, because me personally, I was a hothead early, and, like, I ain't gonna lie, early on, I was hot. The first minute you say something to me at a job wrong, I'm out of this joint. You know what I'm saying? I grab my bag and leave. But I had to learn how to manage my emotions and things like that in just the world, but also in the workplace and just with people in general. You know, and it kind of came to a head once that I was at a Chipotle, right? And I was starving because I was prepping for a show, and I needed to eat. And it was a guy in front of me just going back and forth with the lady about brown rice. Right. And I'm looking at him, and the people behind me can tell I was getting aggravated, you know. And then finally I was like, dude, just get the white rice. And I go off on this random guy, and I'm like, I gotta control that. Right. Control those things, because it could have been a very bad situation. And I really felt he had his daughter with him too, his little girl with him, and I kind of felt bad about it, you know. But yeah, that is my thing, is just how to manage just day to day and control my own emotions. Yeah, and that was for me too, especially with being a girl dad and them, and then as I got into my career, the trajectory I was going, being able to learn how to interact in different situations, not taking stuff so seriously, so that I could navigate these things. I think if I wouldn't have changed or altered the way I think and the way I operate, I don't think I would be where I am now, because like I was talking to you earlier, my path has moved from just being just a normal counselor and going into the management, and then moving up in that upper leadership, and then getting ready to transition into something even higher. I think changing and looking at different perspectives has allowed me and a lot of us to be where we are. Like the way we talked about with you being your supervisor and your leaders coming in and always looking at you to go in and fix things at other locations, because you've shown that, as you talked about, that work ethic, and they can count on you, that accountability, that if they sent you there, you're going to go in there and do what the policy and procedure states how that organization is supposed to run. So that's a testament to your work ethic. And I think if we wouldn't have
looked at things in a different perspective to see how it really wasn't as a negative of how it would benefit us.
Yeah.
That's allowed us to say. I often tell people change is hard, but often necessary.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
And it doesn't require that you just changing your full self, but it's beneficial for you to be able to evolve into the person that you are today. So that's one of the things. I just want to know what your truth is, because, and people always say, I change it. People always say, what is your why? What is your why?
Yeah.
I was always taught in my training as a counselor, never to ask why. Rephrase it. So just putting it, what is your truth, and learning what caused you to get to where you are, what's driving you now. Because if we would have stayed in that same situation, what would we be now? Will we be in the situation where we can take care of our families in a certain way, to be the brothers and to our siblings, or the support for our spouses? So that's why I came up with that question, because I wanted to know not only for you to kind of look at that introspectively, but also people to look at. I knew him. I know he played basketball or baseball, and I stayed in class with him. I knew him, but I wanted people to say, okay, I got another connection with him.
And please, even, when it comes to parenting, parenting was, there's no manual on how to be not even just a good parent, just a parent in general.
Yeah, just to navigate that process.
I realized, and I had this conversation with a buddy, and as a matter of fact, me and Eric Robinson had this conversation not too long ago. I text Eric one day. I said, Eric, at what point did you feel like or look and think you were raising lazy kids? You know what I mean? And it's not a knock on our kids. It's just the way we grew up. We're wanting our kids to be that same way. But we have to communicate with them differently. And I had to learn how to communicate differently as a parent. I had to learn how to communicate differently as a coach. I had to learn how to communicate differently as a manager. So that's where I say controlling my emotion, because I could get like, oh my gosh,
you forgot one.
Communicating
as a spouse.
And that's
man.
I'm still working on that one. I'll be honest with you. If you ask my wife otherwise, she'd be like, man, this dude here is horrible with communication. But I'm trying.
Same day, man.
I'm doing my best.
So when you think about it, we're going to be wrapping up. What keeps you inspired? What keeps you curious? And what keeps you hopeful?
What keeps me inspired is the line of work that I do. There's always new challenges every day, whether it's with my athletes, whether it's with an injury, or, because I'm always researching something different with my people, and that's one thing that keeps me inspired and keeps me going. And once I start seeing the results of my work, of things that I have found and implemented, and I see my people responding, then I'm like, okay, this is what keeps me going. That's definitely what keeps me going. What else? Inspired. What else you say?
Hopeful. What keeps you
hopeful? What keeps me hopeful is just for my kids to just be great. I want all my kids to be great. I got, like I said, I told you earlier, like I got Isaiah, trying to get into law school. I think he'll get this time around.
He's gonna get there.
Yeah. Then I got this 12-year-old Parker, saying he's one of those kids he's so like smart. He's almost like, you remember Corey Thurman? That was a great hunter. Corey was smart as all, had all the book sense in the world, but his common sense sometimes was I should tell him that all the time too. And my 12-year-old's like that. He's very smart. I told him if I get another email from his teacher, I'm gonna just lose it. But it's not like anything bad. It's just like he doesn't take any notes, but then he takes a test and he passes it. And
right.
And then I got this 8-year-old over here. All she want to do is TikTok dance and all that kind of stuff all day long. But I just want them to be just I'm hopeful they become, great people off of something that I've taught them throughout the years. Any lessons that I've given them. Even Isaiah right now, he can probably tell you there's a rule that I had. I always was telling myself, Isaiah, if you're with someone and if they're going to do something that's going to either get you put in jail or killed, walk away.
Right.
Let's walk away. And he's 27 years old. He can probably tell you that right now. I'm sure.
That's good. A good sounding place.
Yeah. And I would always, I'm just hopeful that my kids just, like I said, be good people, be good citizens, just be productive in life. That's what I'm hoping for, especially with that 12-year-old, because he's suspect sometimes.
That's gonna be your superstar. That's the one. The
Yeah,
one,
you know, I love him to death.
All together.
I love him to death. It's just some days it's just like I'm look at it, and it's funny because I realize, Jeremy, is that we are, and my buddy Jerome told me this. He's like, man, we are inner city parents trying to raise suburban kids.
Right.
So the way we grew up and the things that we did, we can't do that. I can't raise my kids the way I was raised. They don't respond that way. Kids now, everybody wants to know why I'm doing it, what I'm doing it for, how it's going to benefit me. Am I getting paid for it? All that kind of stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just hopeful that my kids be just good people altogether.
That's a good deal, man.
Yeah.
You've been with me for 30 minutes, and I appreciate you for coming on.
Man. Yeah.
This has been great. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, Jenkins. I'm hoping Eric shows. I haven't seen him in a hot minute.
Man, I don't know if he's gonna be able to make it, man. I talked to him the other day. He's like, he don't know yet. So we'll see. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys, man. I wish we can get together more than just every 10 years. Hopefully we can kind of make that happen. It's just, it's gonna be a good time, man. It's gonna be fun. So
I'm hoping to get back to there. So everyone, that was our next to the last episode with my brother Tim. We still got time. You see the information scrolling on down at the bottom. If you haven't registered, you're thinking about it, you're on the fence about it, come on out and see your classmate. You never know what you might learn, what experience you might have. In the conclusion of this interview, we're going to run our credits. We're going to have that promo video. It gives you all the details of everything you need to know to register, get involved.
Hold on. Let me put these on too. This is how everybody remember me though, with my glasses.
You got to put his glasses on.
Everybody remember me with my glasses on, So.
Right, man. So next, we're going to close this out with Lyndon Huey next week.
Yep.
He's going to be our final guest on the live episode of 95 and 30. But we do have a docuseries that I have like a bunch of other classmates that are sending in videos talking about their experiences, their perspective that weren't able to come on and do live. So we're going to run that during that week of the reunion, during the week of October the 17th, so that you can reconnect with them. So again, Tim, I thank you.
Yeah, man.
We look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Yep.
And as always, everyone, what's your TIGS state of mind and who you with?